it's, disturbing for the rest of the class and so on.
And perhaps it's something that people had before language. And language, and then written language, and then, of course, media sort of eroded those abilities.
Yes. And you find that also in South America and in Australia, and in Australia and New Zealand.
In the indigenous people.
Yes,
yeah.
Natives, but, up to the current population.
Right. So perhaps it's something that we all had, and we've lost it. Now, when you were initially studying parapsychology, what were the protocols that you were using? Like, how were you trying to determine whether or not people were capable?
So, again, in my own, I've studied parapsychology more as a personal interest. But Dr. Puthoff and Dr. Targ were doing it with scientific controls. I mean, that was the point. That to look at it from a physics point of view, not just from a parapsychology or psychology point of view. So they were designing tests that were more tied to physical quantities. And one of the people that they brought in was Ingo Swann, who was an artist from New York. He was very uncomfortable with California. The sky is always blue, it's boring and so on. And he liked New York. He liked the animation of the city and his friends and so on. But I knew, of course, of him. I had read some of the things. So when he came to SRI, he told me that, remote viewing is one thing, or parapsychology, but it should be applied to science. And also, it had to be applied to intelligence, in the sense of, the intelligence agencies were funding SRI to do this, okay? The three-letter, agencies, there were a number of them who were very interested. Because I knew that gift existed, in pilots and in a number of people.
And so they were trying to figure out a way to utilize this for military applications?
Mostly to look at developments in the Soviet Union at that point.
Oh, so they were trying...
But also, lost spacecraft. They found a lost spacecraft in the middle of a jungle in Africa and so on. By parapsychology.
Whose spacecraft? Ours?
No, it was Russian.
So they found it through remote viewing?
Yes.
Really?
So so Ingo was starting.
It's called DNA projecting of the mind.
Go around the labs at SRI. He wanted to. He had never been in a scientific institution that's full of computers and gadgets and measuring instruments and everything else. So he wanted to know, he saw that as the next domain where parapsychology could be applied in a strict scientific, rational way. So I was one of the people that he wanted to talk to. And I told him, do you know how a computer finds data? You have a computer, a machine full of, chips. How does it deal with the real world? And he said, I have no idea. I mean, I've never looked inside a computer. And I said, well, there's three ways, as a programmer, I can declare a variable. I can say X is always going to be 3.14, okay, or pi. But in many cases, I can give you the address of the place where I've put the data, that is going to be different. The address is going to be the same, but the data is going to change every time. So, but I can give you the address. It's 2314. 2314 is where I'm going to put, the age of the patient, okay? That is going to be different with every patient. So that's, direct addressing, but I can also put in that location, I can put the address of somewhere else, which I'm going to compute in my program. And that's indirect addressing. And then there's the rest of the world, which is too big to put inside the machine. I mean, the machine has a memory, maybe very big, but it's still limited. So it's going to go get the information from some memory device
Make sense, Jacques Vallée. Make sense, please. Make sense.
somewhere else. You know, maybe the World Bank and or the Library of Congress. And there I cannot give those.
Sorry, I've got to go back. Okay. Makes sense.
But it's going to be different with every patient. So that's direct addressing. But I can also put in that location, I can put the address of somewhere else, which I'm going to compute in my program. And that's indirect addressing. And then there's the rest of the world, which is too big to put inside the machine. I mean, the machine has a memory, maybe very big, but it's still limited. So it's going to go get the information from some memory device somewhere else.
It's called consciousness. Jacques Vallée, it's called consciousness. I'm sure, I mean, look, it's 18 minutes in to the Joe Rogan talking to Jacques Vallée. We'll talk about this in a minute, but well done. Well done, Joe Rogan. He's putting in the right people at the right time. Well done. So does this mean he's actually quite smart, Joe Rogan? Of course he is. I've always said I like Joe Rogan. I don't like a lot of the things the points that he makes and stuff. I think he takes a long time to catch up. I was using Jacques Vallée last year and started introducing it through consciousness. Remember? And I started hinting at DNA projecting and the mind through connecting to this computer realm, through connecting to this mechanical realm, this computer realm. But well done, Joe Rogan, for having Jacques Vallée on. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming because of the other guests that you had on. The only one you're missing out on, the only one that you haven't had on, really, that I'm a big fan of, is Rupert Spira. Why haven't you had Rupert Spira on? Joe Rogan. If I can push out a request, if you want to go deep, if you want to go into the deep end of what consciousness is and how it really works and runs, then Rupert Spira is your man. Rupert Spira, look. Jacques Vallée for the mind, Thomas Campbell for virtual reality, Donald Hoffman for space and time and finding out which is fundamental, Rupert Spira for the deep end of consciousness, and Rupert Sheldrake for telepathy. Yeah, and when I worked on Rupert Sheldrake and then moved over and tried to give people an explanation of Jacques Vallée, which is what I've done last year. So I'm a year ahead, a year forward here. Yeah, it's good to see Joe Rogan's catching up very quickly, if I might not say, very quickly. Yeah, but Joe Rogan, a request, Rupert Spira. If you want to go in the deep end, want to go to the deep end of consciousness, then Rupert Spira is your man. I'm sure you've heard of him. I don't know if you've had him on, I don't know. But he's your man, he's the man. It's the only one you're missing out on. You've had all the others. You know, you've had Rupert Sheldrake a long time ago. I do believe Rupert Sheldrake's a bit too old now for having back on the podcast, I really do. But you may want to have him back on. But he was kicking it about 10, 20 years ago. He really was, Rupert Sheldrake. And he's amazing with telepathy. And he's proven a lot of stuff with telepathy. And of course, the mainstream pushed him out. The mainstream pushed them all out, to be honest with you. Yeah.
You know, maybe the World Bank and or the Library of Congress. And there I cannot give you the address, but I can give you a sort of imaginary process by which you can derive the address when you get there and bring it into the memory of your computer and then work with it. And he said, that's it. That's what I need. And then he came up with the idea of coordinate remote viewing out of that conversation I had with him. Okay, so that was my contribution to the.
We have now jumped into remote viewing. Again, he's not the best. Jacques Vallée's not the best person for that kind of talk. He really isn't. There's other people that can do that a lot better. But should we stop it there?
The actual project at the beginning, and then he thought as an address he was going to take coordinates, longitude and latitude, because we were going to look at, they were going to, I wasn't officially part of the, but I was, I had passed the qualifications to be at SRI in a Department of Defense project, so I was one of the good guys. So we...
What, one of the good guys of the DOD, really? Okay.
We had many conversations with Coffee and so on in the lab with Ingo and later with Uri Geller.
Uri Geller, that's it. I'm definitely turning it off now. Why the hell is he talking about Uri Geller? Uri Geller was false. Right, but anyway, slow down, Johnny. My name's Electric Johnny Cat. Hope you're all well. Yeah, I mean, I think Jacques Vallée's good for some things, but he's not right for what's going on. I think he's way too old at the moment, If you got to remember, Jacques Vallée was back in the times of the departments of the DOD, Departments of Defence, It was a secret side thing that was going on, in the 70s when they were trying to work all this stuff out. But remember, they were heavily into UFOs and aliens, and I think they still are. It's like Joe Rogan. I'm not putting Joe Rogan down because I like Joe Rogan. I've always talked about Joe Rogan being a nice guy. I like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, I like you. I think you're a nice guy. But you seem to want to. Sorry, I had to have a pause there. You seem to want to still jump into the alien thing. What? Come on, man. Put your common sense on. The only alien presence here is consciousness. That's it. It's the only thing. There's nothing else here apart from consciousness. Consciousness is the alien spaceship. Consciousness is the alien presence here. It's the thing that we don't understand. It's the thing that runs all of us. Like I said, like an aperture. That's what we are. We're an aperture. We're an aperture to the main frame. That's what we are. I should have put this on widescreen. But Joe Rogan he's hanging on. He's just hanging on. Who's making him hang on to the alien thing? Why? To the UFO and alien thing? We know, we know by loads and loads of research now, Joe Rogan, that, a lot of things that we are seeing in the atmosphere is just ours. It's ours. And I know you do talk about that. But a lot of the stuff that we do see out there is ours. It's military, it's ours, the drones. Remember, drones have been around a long, long time. Long before they started getting, pushed out for us. We have a smaller scale. And as soon as they let us all run riot with these drones, and now all of a sudden, they become so powerful, and now the military have to shut it down. No, you're coming into airspace. You're coming into this airspace. Ian Carroll, you had Ian Carroll on the other day. Ian Carroll, I don't know, man. I don't know, that guy. Only been researching for 2-3 years. Seems just like a journalist to me, just a deep down journalist. Come out with some crazy stuff, man. Look, for one, how can Ian Carroll come on on the biggest podcast that's out there? Should I say, is it the biggest or maybe one of the biggest podcasts out here? And then Ian Carroll's allowed to come on and say whatever he wants. And this all runs through YouTube as well, remember. It's all running through YouTube. So YouTube are allowing all the things that he wanted to talk about. It's way too fishy for me. And what did Ian Carroll say? He said some interesting things. I think he's been watching my channel, man, because, he talks a lot of stuff about what I talk about, Definitely something going on there, and he knows about the nervous system. And then Elon Musk was being interviewed as well by Joe Rogan. Even Elon Musk was doing that as well. They're all doing it, No one else was fucking doing it apart from me. But anyway, Ian Carroll said all these things that no one else is allowed to talk about. Because if any of us come on and try to do podcasts like this, you get shut down. Not allowed to talk about this stuff. You get striked. But Ian Carroll's allowed to do it because he's on the Joe Rogan show. What did Ian Carroll say? Some crazy stuff, man, about aliens being in the ISS. I mean, when he says stuff like that, do you know what I mean? It shuts it down. It just shuts it up. Well, it shuts it down for me. I work on common sense and logic. That's what Ian Carroll's saying. That there's, look, I like Ian Carroll. I think he's good. You know, he's good at arm's length. Ian Carroll, he's good at arm's length. I hope he's watching. Ian Carroll, you're good at arm's length. You know, you're a nice guy. You seem like a really cool guy. Very polite. Not intelligent, no, very smart, because he just repeats stuff like the rest of us, do you know what I mean? But he's saying crazy stuff, I can't jump on board of that stuff. No. Joe Rogan, stay on the same lines of your Jack Valleys, of your Jack Valleys, of your Thomas Campbells, of your Donald Hoffmans, of your Rupert Spirers, of your Rupert Sheldrakes. These people give you answers. Rupert Spira, you need to get him on. Right now's the right time, Joe Rogan. Get on Rupert Spira. If you want to go in the deep end, if you want to jump in the deep end to consciousness and working this shit out, Rupert Spira is your man. If you can, get Rupert Sheldrake back on, but I think he's too old. I think Jack Valle's too old to explain things properly. You know, they're still talking about old physics. They are. And I said last year I want to move into the higher side of physics, which is electrical engineering, but I've been doing that for like years anyway. And now I've jumped into the main thing that what everybody should be talking about, the new physics of consciousness. So does it put it down to physics? It's a physics of consciousness. Everything runs on consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Even the telepathy for what Jalay has been talking about, and what I mentioned about Jack Vallee last year, which a lot of people picked up on, is the mind effect. It's the mind effect. It's the wave. It's the waveform. It's a wave effect, catching the wave, catching the photon. Once we learn how to do this and realise what this is actually going on, then it seems like people like Jacques Vallée are not so mad of understanding, because originally these were the guys that tried to move away from the craziness of the alien and UFOs into a physics of consciousness way of knowing that you can manifest stuff in the atmosphere. Because remember, you know, I said before, you know, these points here, these electrical neuro points are connected to the stars of this computer system. This is my research. This is what I think. So the mechanical realm, the computer realm of virtual reality, consciousness and the wave, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, learning the field, extracting from the field. Why do they practice? Right, another thing. Why do they practice black magic? I was thinking about this the other day. John Dee and all these other crazy people that made out to be crazy, but they were diving into a kind of research that was way in the future. If you look back at John Dee doing black magic, and what was they? This is me saying it. This is not nobody else saying. This is me saying it. Why did John Dee go into black magic in the first place? I believe because of a higher side of consciousness, to find the new waves. Look, as we evolve, our mind's evolving. It's evolving very, very quickly because of technology, and we've been linked on technology, and technology has given us a different way of thinking. And how is this happening? And how is this possible? Why is this happening? Because as we go on with technology, the consciousness, you know, the consciousness knows this. It's related to this. It's all related to consciousness. So, you know, consciousness is pushing out new waves of technology to us. You know, the technology now is not the same. It's not the same savvy technology. You know, from your Elon Musk that want to jump into your nervous system, control the top of your pineal gland through the nervous system, and then try and link it to a computer this way. That's all he's doing. So he wants to put a program in your head. But going back to John Dee, but look, John Dee, what was John Dee doing? He was, right, I'm going to have to just say this directly, innit? Right, why do I think they do black magic? Why do I think they do black magic so much? From the ancients going all the way forward, and all the elites, they still do it, allegedly still do it, black magic. Why do they do it? The only thing I can think of why they're doing it is because they're asking consciousness for a new wave of technology. I think it's got to be it. So if you look at Tesla, what Tesla used to do, he used to write. I said this so many times, and then in the way of repeating myself, you know, Tesla would get a book and he'd write down before he went to sleep. He would write down all these questions, and he'd expect the answers from the data system, from the Akashic record. So Tesla would write it all down in a book, go to sleep. Consciousness would take over, and the subconscious mind would take over, and then they'll answer the questions. Consciousness wouldn't put the answers in the book for him so he could read them. No, consciousness would feed him into his mind, his subconscious, when he was sleeping. This is what happened. This is the intuition bank. The things that we ask for, the questions, the free will. We ask for a question, it hits us with free will, gives us a voice of free will. So what is black magic? What really is black magic, and why are they doing it? Because they want to jump into the intuition bank, the data system, the Akashic records. So if they do their black magic, and I know there's some nasty stuff that they do, I don't agree with that. No, please don't ever think that this conversation is about that. I've been accused of black magic before, and I've never done anything to do with black magic. I look into it. Like I'm doing right now, I'm talking about black magic again. Why? Because I believe these people that work on black magic from the ancients up until the present time, it still goes on, we know that. And there's evil stuff that goes on. But why are they doing it? Because they want answers from the intuition bank. They want answers to their questions. That's what I believe. So you've got these bad people that do the black magic, or so-called, they make out to be bad people. We really don't fucking know, to be honest with you. You know, people throw out negative all the time. And, you know, you don't have to listen to what everybody says. Do your own research. I keep saying this. Do your own research. So why are they doing black magic? Because I believe they want answers to their questions from the intuition bank, from the data system of the Akashic records. So if they do that, maybe this is the only way. I don't know. I'm asking, is this the only way? Why they do their black magic, so that way they will get the answers from the intuition bank. It's like they're asking for a new wave of consciousness to come over. An up-to-date system of the consciousness. Remember, this computer realm that we're in, this mechanical realm, this computer realm of virtual reality, works on a data system. So if we ask it in a certain kind of way, ask these questions, and will we get the answers coming over on a waveform of consciousness, a new wave? Didn't David Bowie talk about all this all the time? A lot of people say that David Bowie was into black magic too. Yeah, I believe he was. I believe he was into the good side of it. Can you have a good side of black magic and a bad side of black magic? Yeah, of course. I believe David Bowie was on a good line of it, a good wave. And he would say all the time, as we evolve in the future. This was 10 years ago, 20 years, probably 20 years ago, where David Bowie would talk about these things. Talked about a lot of stuff. Listen to the guy. Research what he talked about. He talked about a new wave of consciousness coming on to link onto consciousness, link on to the system that we're using. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. So are they doing black magic? So the bottom line is, are they doing black magic to get a new wave of consciousness to give them the answers to the questions they're asking the Intuition Bank? Tesla did the same. He did it for technology. And he got the answers from the Intuition Bank, from the data system, from the Akashic Records to answer these questions. This is what he did. So the people that do black magic, is it exactly the same as what Tesla did? Nikola Tesla I'm talking about. Not that other fucking joke. Another joker of a guy. He basically just keeps manipulating Joe Rogan, to be honest with you. He is. Elon Musk is using Joe Rogan for a platform to spurt his nonsense. He is. Sorry, but that's what I think, Joe Rogan. That's what I think. So that's what I think that's what they're doing the black magic for. I think that's what they're doing it for. They want answers to their questions. They want consciousness to push over a new wave of technology into our mind, because this neuro system is already connected to the stars of this computer system, this computer realm. We're already connected. Elon Musk wants to do it a different way, through the sentient robot, which ain't going to be able to do. He won't do it. He won't be able to do it. All he can do is build a robot and then put in a program and make it look amazing, which I'm sure is going to happen. It will happen, yeah. But again, nobody knows the answers of consciousness, not properly, not deep down. We're all on a speculation base. We're all full of assumptions. We all are. Jack Valet, Thomas Campbell, Donald Hoffman, Rupert Spira, Joe Rogan, Rupert Sheldrake for telepathy. I've done loads of talks on Rupert Sheldrake. 2 years ago I did them. I think I've done that talk 3 times now. Maybe I'll do it again, I don't know. Maybe, because I've learned a lot more since. I've learned a lot more now than what I did 2 years ago. So there's nothing wrong with sharing things, So again, consciousness on the wave, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, learning the field, extracting from the field, which is what I just talked about. Why do we practice black magic? Does black magic have a purpose? Is black magic important to the new waves of consciousness? Yes. A certain way of black magic, not the evil side of black magic. Is it just the evil side of black magic that can give us the new waves of consciousness? I don't know. So I'm trying to work out. David Bowie talked about this so much. So Jack Valet, the French guy, I talked about him last year. Done loads of talks and pushed out the consciousness side of things and the manifestation of bringing stuff into the atmosphere, which is Jack Valet is still a big believer, huge believer of. Maybe it was vaccines that are stopping all this. They're trying to stop the links between the consciousness. So you get an injection, you're getting a vaccine. Obviously, I can't put this on YouTube. So if you have a vaccine, it shuts it down. So the future evolvedness of the minds connecting to this computer realm system, which is already doing, and it automatically seems to be happening through consciousness. Consciousness knows when we're ready, and it will send over the waves. But they're forcing the waves over. They seem to be forcing the waves of consciousness over the consciousness of the new technology that can be linked. So they're pushing it forward. So maybe vaccines were there to stop this. There are millions and millions of people that had the vaccines, and maybe it's stopping it. It's stopping the connection. Remember, what do they say about your wisdom teeth? Don't have your wisdom teeth out. Don't have them out. If you take them out, because your wisdom teeth are connected to the pineal gland, which is the centre of your nervous system. Take out these fucking huge things at the back here, and which are connected to the pineal gland, where the pineal gland is the centre point of your nervous system. It's the pineal gland. So that vaccine's going to take all of that away. It will stop that. So none of this stuff ever gets talked about. No one's allowed to talk about it. Am I supposed to be impressed that Joe Rogan had Ian Carroll on there to spurt loads of crazy nonsense about stuff he doesn't even understand because he hasn't researched it? Is there aliens on the ISS? Now you're saying the ISS is real. It's just a brick wall. It's a brick wall from that guy. I can't use him. I can't use him for anything. I can't. He's just a smart guy repeating stuff. He's not an intelligent guy. He's not offering us new information. Ian Carey, for listening, but that's just, sorry mate, that's just the way it is. I understand you're still learning. Right, so maybe vaccines stop the connection of the waves. The DNA genetics are physical powers of a gift that are learned through tapping into the field. Yes. They all did it. Tesla did it. He tapped into the field. What is the field? It's a dimension field, which is the Akashic Records. Tesla did it. Everybody's doing it. So maybe vaccines stop the connection of these waves. DNA genetics are the physical powers of a gift that are learned through tapping into the field. Wave genetics and DNA projecting. So then we can use your Jack Valais for the mind, Thomas Campbell's for the virtual reality, Donald Hoffman for space and time and working out what is actually fundamental. Rupert Spire for the deep end of all of this. Get him on, Joe Rogan. He's still proper savvy, he knows exactly what he's doing. Rupert Sheldrake for telepathy. It's been proven to be the best guy for telepathy was Rupert Sheldrake. He worked at animals. Of course they shunned him. Wave genetics and the modern science. So scientist Pooja Gargajev, probably said that completely wrong, delves into the mysteries of the human DNA through the lens of the wave genetics, i.e. the field. The DNA not merely a molecule structure of storing genetic information, but we are a biocomputer and we are communicating through the electromagnetic waves. The Russian scientists said that they are understanding of the genetics of the genetics codes as a mere sequence of the nucleotides, of the nucleus tides, is incomplete. DNA is capable of emitting. DNA is calm down, Johnny. DNA is capable of emitting and receiving information through vibrations, thereby operating on the level akin to the human language, where this perspective opens the doors to the way of viewing life's processes, where genetic expression can be influenced by the electromagnetic field. Right? Right? Influenced by the electromagnetic signals and creating genetic modification for the healing, because it's the biofield. DNA is a biofield. DNA is biological. It's biology. DNA is pushed through biology. I've got more information on biology and the DNA. I'll do that next time, or the next time we come on and talk about this kind of information. The experiments conducted that the DNA could be reprogrammed through the linguistic patterns. Sharing genes could be turned on and off by the right frequency of sounds and light. The machines were out there. They've been made. The machines were made for breaking into the frequency of sounds and light. You all know this anyway. The machines are there. You can still buy the bloody machines that can do the healing through the linguistic patterns of the frequency and sounds of light. Revolutionise this could and can for medicine to the biotechnology, offering unprecedented control of biological machinery of life, because it's a biomachine. We're in a biomachine. We are biomachines. I said the other day, I believe we're just like, you know, a high intelligence of AI robot, which was created by consciousness itself, which comes under a biological machine, which is what we are. So offering unprecedented control over biological machinery of life, the mainstream science community has largely dismissed the waveforms and wave genetics, even though the implications of wave genetics extend way far beyond the laboratory. Of course that's true. Rendering the curiosity, then the cornerstone of the new genetic paradigm, understanding disease and life itself. Opening up the Pandora. Opening up the Pandora of possibilities. The interdisciplinary nature of wave genetics, touching on quantum physics of the wave, and of course the observation effect of collecting the wave and understanding the light and vibrations through DNA projecting. Of course, there's people out there going against DNA projecting. It's always the same people. Always the same people. It's, you know, I mean, I'm really looking forward to. I've only listened to about 15 minutes of the Jacques Vallée on Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's having the same people on now. He's having the right people on. The right people for what he's going into at the moment. And he seems to have stuck with this for quite a while now. It all seems to have started when he started watching my channel, which is quite ironic, isn't it? But I'm really chuffed and happy that's happening. You know, the internet always wins, Joe Rogan. That's what Joe Rogan's been saying, isn't it? For those who's interested, this is Joe Rogan's words. You know, I'm not a bad guy. I'm a good guy, man. I'm not a bad guy. I think it's a gentle way of warning me off and leaving people alone, I guess. I think that's what Joe Rogan's doing. He wants me to leave people alone. But what if they don't leave me alone, Joe Rogan? Laugh out loud. Look, man, that's run for nearly 40 minutes. I think I'm going to stop now anyway. I was ready to stop anyway. Look, you're catching... Consciousness is throwing the observer effect at you. It's throwing the wave, so you can pick up the photon, but also at the same time, consciousness is throwing out the consciousness of free will. It's throwing out free will to you. So you just imagine you're the person, like every single person is here, and you're looking for the waveform. So you can catch the photon, so you can look through the observer effect. You know, consciousness giving us free will, it's no different. It's no different from catching the light, from catching the wave, catching the photon. Consciousness does it in a different way. So now you're catching the voices of free will. It's all connected. It's all connected. I mean, I apologise for being a bit high rate there, but come on, man, I'm just so passionate about this stuff. I've always been passionate about it. And I'm always going to be passionate about it. If I may raise my voice on a bit of a higher level due to my ego, I'm sorry about that, but, you know, it's just to show you lot out there, who's ever listening or concerned, whatever, that I am passionate about this stuff. My name's Electric Johnny Hat. I love you all. We're getting somewhere. I think we're definitely getting somewhere with all this. Absolutely. We've just got to work out this realm properly through the parabolic system of light. The computer realm, the virtual reality realm, the mechanical realm, this biosphere realm of consciousness. Well, consciousness is helping to run it all. Well, it is running it all because consciousness runs everything. My name's Electric Johnny Hat. Speak to you all soon. Where do I go from here? We'll find out next time. Stay in touch.